Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good evening, depending on your time zone and depending on when you are watching this. I'm James Innes, and this is my YouTube show, The Jobs Guru. It is Thursday, the 25th of June, 2020, my last show of the week, but I am delighted to see you all here for today's episode. I extend a very warm welcome to all those who have subscribed since the last episode, and if you haven't yet subscribed, then please do think about subscribing so that you don't miss out on the next episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about cover letters. I'm going to run you through the 15 most common cover letter mistakes and how to avoid them, and I'm also going to give you my 5 top tips for cover letter writing. If you have any questions or comments as you watch, then do please type them into that comment section below, and if you like what you see, then please hit that YouTube thumbs up. So, surveys reveal that cover letters are seen by almost 50% of recruiters as being as important as the CV itself, although most people spend the least amount of time on them. So many people lose out on an interview not because of their CV, but because of their cover letter. People are all too ready to blame it on their CV without giving a thought to their cover letter. Yet it's frequently the cover letter that is to blame for the lack of success. Never underestimate the importance of a cover letter. When someone has hundreds of CVs to plough through, the cover letter sets the tone of the application and should inspire the reader to turn over enthusiastically, yes, maybe metaphorically in this digital age, and read the accompanying CV. It's the ideal opportunity for you to succinctly summarize and re-emphasize the skills and experiences you have highlighted in your CV. And it also gives you greater latitude to express your personality. It can help to focus attention on your strengths and distract attention away from any weaker points. Get it wrong, and you may find that the recruiter doesn't even bother to read your CV. Applications can be rejected solely on the basis of the cover letter. So I would strongly recommend you take your time in preparing your cover letter and maximize your chances of getting through to the interview stage. And to help you do that, James Innes Group has conducted a comprehensive analysis of over 1,000 cover letters to derive a top 15 of the common mistakes that people make. So here we go. Number 1, failing to write to the right person. Now, the best person to whom to address your cover letter is clearly the person who is going to be making the decision whether or not to interview you. Too many letters are simply addressed to the HR manager and start, "Dear Sir, / Madam." You want to try to get right through to the decision maker if you can. It's an elementary sales tactic, but unless you work within sales yourself, you're unlikely to be aware of quite how important it is to reach the person who actually has the power to make the decision that you want them to make. Number 2, not including your own full contact details. I'd recommend you start all your letters with a professional looking letterhead. It's vital that the reader can spot at a glance not only your name, but also precisely how to get in contact with you. I know it sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised. Put your name at the top, followed by your key contact details, address, phone numbers, email address, etc. Place your address on one line with your phone numbers on next, and finish with your email address, maybe even chuck in your LinkedIn URL. Why not? It should be exactly the same as your CV. Number 3, inappropriate email addresses. Now, whilst fun or jokey email addresses may be fine for corresponding with friends or family, employers will probably regard more serious email addresses as simply more professional. You might have taken time to put together a brilliant cover letter, but if your email address is missdominatrix@example.com, then it may harm your chances. Just for the record, I've got nothing against S&M, but it just has no place in the recruitment process. Number 4, losing your reader's interest with your opening words. Now, the primary goal of your opening paragraph is, of course, to explain to the reader why it is that you're writing to them. Yes, you're applying for a job. They'll figure that one out pretty quickly. But why are you applying for this job? If you fail to start building your case immediately, you risk losing the reader's interest right from the very start. Number 5, not saying what job you're looking for. At the beginning of your cover letter, you should always clearly state the position you're applying for, along with any reference number or numbers quoted in the job advert. It's very possible that recruiters will be simultaneously seeking candidates for various different positions, and it'll make their life a lot easier if they can see clearly, at a glance, which vacancy it is that you're applying for. And trust me, making the recruiter's life easier is very, very important. Number 6, failing to make your case. Now, whilst it would definitely be a mistake to arrogantly oversell yourself, it's also a mistake to undersell yourself. Don't be afraid to blow your own trumpet and show a little self-confidence in what it is that you have to offer a prospective employer. It's a tight job market out there. It really is. You need to compete effectively if you're to stand any chance of achieving your career goals. Make sure you give them compelling reasons to invite you for an interview. Number 7, I'm going to run out of fingers, aren't I? I've said there's 15 of these. Number 7, repeating what is written in your CV. Now, too many people fall into the trap of repeating too much of what their CV already says. This is not only likely to weaken the impact of the letter, but may even put a recruiter off reading the CV. A cover letter is an opportunity to draw the reader's attention to some of your key selling points, skills, experience, achievements, and to do so in a way which makes it clear how these will be of interest and potential benefit to them, the reader. They've got a copy of your CV. Your cover letter should complement it, not repeat it. Your cover letter introduces your CV. It should not replace it. Number 8, a lack of a call to action. The key to ending your letter is to make sure you do so in a positive, upbeat manner. You can't exactly demand a response from them, but you need to do everything in your power to encourage one. And this is where a little advertising device known as a call to action comes in handy. It's a term used in advertising to describe a message to readers of an advert or other promotional material, which is specifically designed to motivate them to take some specific action. Perhaps pick up the phone and place an order, for example. Call now while stocks last. That's a classic. You need to devise something similar to close your letter. Number 9, talking about money before you've even got your foot in the door. You should certainly never voluntarily bring up the question of money in an initial cover letter. It can be a fatal mistake because it sends a clear message to the reader that you are more focused on your own needs than you are on theirs. Simple as that. Number 10, giving the reader what I call eye strain, as in the letter I. The word I is often overused in cover letters. Unlike a CV, a cover letter should, of course, be written in the first person. But if you start every sentence with I, it can make for a pretty tedious reading. Now, it might not be easy to cut down on your use of I, but you should definitely make an effort to do so. Look at each sentence which begins with I and see, can you rephrase it so that it starts with a different word? If you can turn around a sentence that starts you or your, then this is ideal. It shows that your focus is on them, not on yourself. Okay, very important psychological tip there. Number 11. See, I managed it. Lack of coherent structure. Like all the best stories, the best letters have a strong and clearly defined beginning, middle, and end. Okay? It's important to make sure that your letter is structured in a logical fashion. Capture their attention, make an impact, maintain their interest, and finish with a strong closing paragraph. You've only got a certain amount of space and a certain number of words to get your message across. If you don't structure your letter carefully, then you'll end up rambling, and the impact of your letter will be severely diluted, won't it? So, how do I do this? 10, 11, 12. Number 12. So I'm a writer, okay? I'm not a mathematician. Number 12, length. As a general rule, most cover letters don't and shouldn't exceed 1 A4 page in length. Never lose sight of the fact that your cover letter is not intended to take the place of your CV. It's meant to act as an introduction. Unless there are clear instructions to the contrary, you should aim to keep your letters short and sweet. A handful of paragraphs is normally more than sufficient to whet the recruiter's appetite and entice them to read your CV. I'll start again. 10, there we go. 13 is what I'm trying to say. Spelling and grammatical errors. It might seem obvious, it might seem hard to believe that people actually do send out letters with errors in them. But believe me, it happens all the time. I mean, literally, over a third and approaching a half of letters have errors in them. If you can make sure that your letter is totally error-free, you're immediately going to be at an advantage. It's essential to check again, double check, triple check, that there aren't any spelling or grammatical errors. This is most likely the recruiter's first impression of you. Make sure it's a positive one. Deep breath, I'll get it right this time. 14. See, practice makes perfect. 14, spamming everyone with the same letter. Now, in just the same way that your CV should ideally be tailored for each application, so should your cover letter. In fact, it's even more important to tailor your letter. A carefully targeted letter can easily mean the difference between success and failure. Stands to reason that every job and every organisation is different, and every letter and every cover letter, there should therefore also be subtly different. If you send the same letter to everyone, changing in a few minor details like name and address, your chance of success will most definitely fall considerably. And to be quite frank, you're wasting your time as well as theirs. 15. Not signing the letter. Now, you won't physically be able to sign a letter sent by email. Well, you can be very clever actually and paste it in, but you don't need to, okay? But always sign letters sent by post, which I know there's not many applications like that these days, but, they do still exist. By taking the time to sign that before sending it, it's just one further signal to the reader that you've taken the time to write to them personally. You haven't just sent out the same letter to dozens, if not hundreds of people. And finally, my 5 top tips to make your cover letter stand out. Make an effort to accommodate these 5 points when writing your cover letter, and you'll immediately be well above average. So I'm going to start with this hand this time. Number 1, get through to the right person. The best person to whom to address your cover letter is the person who's going to be making the decision whether or not to interview you. Okay? Not only do letters addressed to a specific person achieve better results, but letters that actually reach the decision maker obviously have an even higher chance of making the grade. Number 2, communicate clearly, concisely, engagingly, and articulately. It's essential for your letter to be easy for the reader to scan quickly and effectively. Take your time to carefully phrase your thoughts. Do not rush yourself. Make sure you get your message across. Number 3, tell a good story. Like all the best stories, the best letters have a strong and clearly defined beginning, middle, and end. It's important to make sure your letter is structured in a logical fashion, capture the reader's attention, make an impact, maintain their interest, and finish with a strong closing paragraph. 4, target or tailor your letter. You should always tailor it according to the specific organization to which you're applying. It can easily mean the difference between success and failure. Nobody likes to be spammed. And 5, whichever one, check your spelling and your grammar. I know I've just said it, I'm saying it again. Before sending off any letter, make sure you have read through it very carefully indeed, and it's always a good idea to ask someone else to check for you. Now, if you'd like to learn more about cover letters, then please do check out my best-selling book on the subject. A copy of it handy here, The Cover Letter Book, which tells you precisely what you need to know to write a truly brilliant cover letter. You can even order a copy via jamedennis.group. So now, we are not far from the end of today's show. I'll be back next week, Tuesday. Remember, this show is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday each, and pretty much every week. Just 2 more things. First, I'm going to squeeze in some routine but important requests. Do please check me out on social media and connect, follow, or otherwise stalk me, but please don't troll me. Nobody likes trolls. If you have any questions or comments about this episode, about the show in general, or indeed about life, the universe, Deuteronomy's portrayal of the death of Moses, whatever, then do please let me have them in the comment section below. If you like this episode, hit it with the YouTube thumbs up. If you've already given me a thumbs up, then perhaps think about subscribing and ringing that bell. Yeah, that bell. So you don't miss out on the next episode. And if you've already done all of that, well, thank you so much. Finally, what's happening in the next episode? Well, my 3 shows next week are all going to have a common theme. Equality. Discrimination, diversity, division, human rights. Were we not all created equal? I do hope you'll tune in. Thank you for watching today. Keep safe and be well, my friends. See you next Tuesday. Goodbye.